What's up, everybody? And this week we're going to talk about a new toy. This is the Neewer 31.5 inch slider, and as you can see, it's a nicely built slider. It's got a nut on the front here, or not a nut, it's actually like a nylon bolt, and that gives you the freedom, and you can see it's very smooth sliding. It's got a large base plate. The end plates are aluminum, very strong. Let me tighten this back up. The legs are adjustable where you can swing around, and on the bottom side it also has ports for to mount on tripods or stands so that you can elevate it and such. Now, some other things, the rods here are carbon fiber, strong, and allows smooth rolling as well. And you can see this center rod, it's metal, and you can adjust this back and forth, and you can see the head here rotating. Now, the way that works is you'll mount your camera on a ball head. This is a standard ball head bolt here to mount on, and I've got one, since I've got this camera rolling and that camera rolling, I've got one over here to use for this, for display purposes. It's a Sony Alpha 5000, and I've got it on the ball head. I'm going to center this up real quick. The ball head did not come with it. It's just a ball head that came on my Benro carbon fiber tripod. All right, so you can see this here, and I can, it's very easy to move for the slider. Now, two things here that we need to discuss. One is this center rod and these plates. Now, I'm going to move it that way. Now, watch what happens to the camera as I slide it now. Let me loosen that back up. Now you can see that it pans in. So you can set this, as this slider goes, it can stay focused on one object. It takes a little bit of trial and error to get that set right, but it's a very cool aspect there. Now, if I take these and bring it back the other way, now we've got a 120-degree pan from side to side. One other thing that's kind of neat with this, let me lock this back down, and I'm going to turn the camera a little bit of an angle. Now when I slide this, you can see how I can start off to the side and then have it pan, never show the slider in it as it comes back forward to whatever I want to have focused over here. So that's kind of cool. But the absolute most cool thing about this is, let me turn this around, and you can see it has this little belt here. One other thing I didn't mention is you have, I didn't lock that down, the feet are also micro adjustable, so you can get this good and balanced. But you see this belt here, and there's two holes on the back side, there and there. And that is because inside this package we have a motor. And this motor has two pulleys and then a geared or a toothed pulley here that grabs this belt, and it will cause the you can make the slider motorized, automatic. It holds standard Sony batteries. These are the same. I've got 3 in the package here. It only came with 1, but these are the same batteries that runs my monitor as well as my LED panel. And the battery pack just slides in here, and the Velcro holds it on. But to show you how this thing works, I need to mount this really quick. And the way it's going to mount is that motor will mount in these 2 holes back here. There's a plate. Let me get this out of the way. There is a plate that's located here, and what you do is take that bolt out or loosen that bolt, and then you can move this belt so that you can thread it in, and then you tighten it back up, and that's what we're about to do. So give me a few seconds to turn this around and get this motor mounted, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into it.
And now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin.
Alrighty, now we've got everything set up. The camera's on. I'm gonna straighten it back up square real quick. Alright, so we've got everything mounted. The belt is threaded into the thread, into the gear selection. You can see how that's done there. I'm gonna loosen this back up to free it of tension. And now, on the back side, there is this white button. And when we hit that button, you're gonna see the light come on. Turn this camera back around one more time. That allows me to use the app on the phone. Now, if you have Apple products with the iOS store, you can see on the bottom here the QR scan. It also has one for Android. You can either scan that with your Apple phone, or you can go to the Apple store and they've got a link to pull that app up. Android is not on the Google Play Store, so you have to scan that QR code and do a download to the device that you want to control this. So let's see, we got this loosened again. You can see there's tension now because of the gears that are on the motor. And I'm going to pull up the app on the phone. Let me get the screen recorder on. And all right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now you'll see on the side here that that's the face of my camera. And I've got it in my photo apps, and it's the Smart Shot app here. And I pull that up. Okay, it wants me to turn on Bluetooth, so I'm going to allow that. And I also have to turn on my location, which is already on. So we're going to scan. Oh, we press that. Okay, now, all right, it found it. Press the button. Okay, first thing we have to do is set the A and B point. So we're going to set the A point, and you have to do this with most sliders. The motor does not recognize where it is on that track. You have to set it up each time, so that's nothing uncommon. All right, so once we get it to the part where we want the A point to set, we press the button that looks like a shutter. All right, then we're going to move it to the B point. You may be able to hear the sound from it. It does create some sound. It's not perfectly quiet. If it's for interview purposes or something like that, I would recommend a wireless mic or some type of lav mic or something on the person that you're videoing, and far enough away from the motor, of course. All right, so we've got the B point, and I'm going to press that button there in the center again. So now I'm set. All right, my speed I've got at 100%. These are in percentages. So all I have to do is press the button, and she starts to move. Now it takes about 15 seconds for it to go from one end to the other under at 100%. Now I've got it set for reverse, so what it's going to do is slow down, come to a stop, speed back up, and return, and it'll keep rebounding back and forth until I tell it to stop. Now if I don't have it in reverse, it'll just go to that point and stop. Now the nice thing is with that slow down and then build back up, you're not going to have a whole lot of camera shake in your video from that. And this is for the video part. I will do a second segment on this for something else that it'll do that I'll tell you about shortly. All right, so it'll keep doing that. Now, one other thing to note is these percentages do not work the way you think they would. These are non-linear. So if I were to take this down and say go to 90%, you can see how it slowed down. That's not 10% slower than what we were doing. It is it's almost twice as slow as what we're doing, and that's the way it'll work throughout. And the reason is, if I put it on like 5%, I want it, that's for like time-lapse purposes, which is going to go into another video. But that means it'll go from point A to point B. If I set it for the extent of the 31.5 inches, it'll take a couple of hours. And these batteries, by the way, will last a couple of hours. I've got a larger battery that I use as well, and after 4 hours, it still hadn't used all its juice, so I finished that test. I'm not going to run anything for more than 4 hours on here anyway. But I'm going to stop it here in the center real quick to show you. I'm going to speed it back up to 100% for this other look. Now remember, I was telling you about how this bar works. All right, so we're going to do this on the pan mode. Now I'm going to start, and you can see it has an auto pan. No hands, just let it do its thing. When it gets back to the center, I'm going to stop it once again. Now I'm going to switch it back. We're going to go the other way. This is going to be an inside focus. And so if I were to have something located, say right here, I can set that middle bar to where it'll keep that camera on it throughout. Now, if my object's further away, all I have to do is not quite as much swing on that arm. So now it's still going to stay focused. It's still going to pan that camera, but it's going to do it a lot less than if I were to have it at the extremes. So that's kind of how this setup works. It's really nice. Like I said, it's got holes on each end that can mount to C-stands or tripods. It also has plates on the sides here where you can mount it in the upright. So we're going to try that real quick just to show you that motor can handle. And of course, this is a mirrorless camera. I've done this with the Nikon 850, which is that camera there. But it handles that climb well. And does a very good job with it. Get it back to the middle. But it also has a plate in the dead center here that that you can mount in the middle. Of course, you're going to want a very strong tripod, not anything like a travel tripod, nothing flimsy, because when that weight gets to one side, you don't want it to swing. Now, I have seen, unless you got a really good ball head, I've done it where I've put the tripod in the center here in my testing purposes earlier this week, and it'll kind of bow like this, but that's not because of this, it's because of the ball head that I had it on. Another neat thing with this is if I have this run, so let's make it run again. I can back out of the app and actually shut off Bluetooth and get out of the app. This motor is going to remember the settings I had in for it, and we'll keep going. So therefore, if I'm doing a time lapse or if I'm doing a longer video, say like a 5-minute spot or something like that, I can let it do its thing and not have this phone connected to it throughout that whole time. So this is the Neewer 31.5 inch carbon fiber slider. This is part one of just kind of going to overview with it. It's let me pull this app back up and we're going to stop it. It's a pretty neat slider. Let me show you just a couple of things I did footage with it, and tell you what, we'll take it out and test it.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now, there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything within. Dreamy, breezy, we go. Easy, easy on our tiptoes. Undercover agents of the other. Beyond gravel, beyond hand in hand, building castles out of sand, reaching for the grand. As we